Yo, what's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing today on this Tuesday? I forgot what the day was. But I'm doing really well. I'm doing really good today. I'm just chilling right now. I'm ready to talk about I don't really know. I mean, we got really nothing going on besides the All-Star game tonight, man. I mean, that's really all we got. I mean, we will obviously recap the Homerun Derby. That was very exciting. Enjoyed the Homerun Derby. The Celebrity All-Star game was yesterday. I didn't watch it, but I know what happened. Today, we coming out with another top 5 player position. I will be giving you my top 5 safeties in the NFL going into the season. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it shouldn't really be a long episode, which is kind of sad, but that's what happens when there's not enough sports going on. But we'll try to debate. I'll try to debate as long as possible. We'll try to get it rolling. But first, I think we need to just start off with the Homerun Derby. Mr. Pete Alonso won the Derby. He won back-to-back. 2019, now in 2021. Obviously, there was no All-Star game during the 2020 season. That was the prime of COVID, obviously. But yeah, he won back-to-back, and he looked very locked in to win it. I mean, he was rattling off hits after hits after hits, and it sucks that Mr. Salvador Perez had to go up against him in the first round because he hit 27 or 28, which is the most by a catcher in Derby history, as ESPN just decided to just completely ignore that. They didn't even bother to mention. I mean, all we were basically listening to during Salvador Perez is just how great Pete Alonso was, which is not a bad thing. But there's times you can praise guys, and there's times where you have to actually look at the Derby, because let's be real, we all knew Perez wasn't going to hit that many home runs, but he got pretty close. And if he faced anybody else in round 1, he would have won. So that's definitely something that's oh man, that he had to go up against Pete Alonso. But Pete Alonso did really well. I never really saw him got tired. I mean, he was just raking. I mean, he was just having such a great time. He was so bouncy too. I mean, he was absolutely just raking. I got what I wanted from the Derby. I saw 500-foot bombs. I saw balls that were going to the clouds. Saw just a lot of just high rising balls too. I mean, they're up high in the Rockies. Just a lot of just high rising balls that just flew out the ballpark. And then that's what I wanted to see. Everybody picked Shohei Ohtani to win. That clearly didn't happen, as Juan Soto beat him in a swing off in round 1. Many people had Shohei Ohtani to win. I didn't. I had Joey Gallo, who got knocked out in the first round also, which that sucks. But yeah, everybody who bet on Shohei, I mean, there was a guy who bet $10K on him to win the Derby. That did not happen. I had Joey Gallo. I don't know how many people bet on Joey Gallo. I'm guessing barely anybody. But Pete Alonso won. Matt Olson, I believe. Man, I'm already forgetting who played in the Derby. Matt Olson went up against Trey Mancini. That is correct. Trey actually made it to the final round. Very impressive performance by him. Obviously, no one was going to beat Pete Alonso. I mean, he was just on another level. Nobody was going to. No one was even close to beating him. But Trey, I think, did an excellent job, did a really good job. He really saved his energy from the second round. St. Trevor Story only hit like 12 home runs. He really just went with a normal approach and really was able to save his energy to, get close to try and beating Pete Alonso, as Pete literally knocked off like 6 in a row, just back to back, and got himself the Derby win. But yeah, Pete Alonso is the Derby champion. My pick was wrong. Everybody else's picks were wrong. People were talking about Ohtani a lot. And he didn't win. It happens. It happens. After the Derby, the Celebrity All-Star Game was on, and I'm just going to say one thing, Mr. Quavo Honcho. Mr. Quavo is a different breed when it comes to these celebrity games, man. I mean, like, the man literally, he struck out DK Metcalf. He struck out DK Metcalf, and then, and then just gave up a double to JoJo Siwa, That's literally sports for you. You strike out like probably the tallest dude in the stadium. You strike out the tallest dude like in the stadium, like on the field, and then next thing you know, you give up a hit to like one of the smallest. It's like, okay, it's pretty funny, to be honest. But yeah, Quavo is definitely a celebrity All-Star Game legend in every sport. It doesn't matter. I don't think we've seen him do soccer yet before. He might have to get on that soccer field. Has he done? I don't know. I don't think he's done soccer yet, so he's definitely got to get on that field. He's definitely got to get on that field for soccer for sure. But yeah, it was just all around. I love the Homerun Derby. The Celebrity All-Star Game was actually pretty nice. And I think Quavo also hit a tank too. I believe. I'm almost forgetting that. So yeah, it was just fun all around. The All-Star Game is tonight. I believe at 7:00. It's on Fox. I know it's on Fox. Now obviously, the lineups for the NL has been changed since Ronald Acuna tore his ACL completely. Which is such a bad thing. So just like a star for baseball, and then next he tears his ACL on the last game before he was going to travel to Colorado, which is really tough. Which really sucks. But anyway, the All-Star Game lineup. Well, before we get to All-Star Game lineup, Mr. Shohei Ohtani is batting. He's batting leadoff. The man is batting leadoff as a DH and is pitching. So I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't even know. Man's living like a video game or something right now. He's literally living in a video game right now, which is pretty crazy that the man can bat. That the man is batting leadoff and is pitching. The man will be batting against NL starter Max Scherzer. And yeah, so we'll definitely be excited to see I guess how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to looking at that game. There's definitely a new era in baseball. You don't see some of the old faces. You're seeing some of the younger guys, way younger guys, who will be in this game for the next decade. That you wouldn't normally think you would even see. You wouldn't think you would actually see. The AL starting lineup is Shohei Ohtani, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Aaron Judge, Rafael Devers, Marcus Semien, Salvador Perez, Sasco Escobar, and Cedric Mullins. And that's crazy because that lineup has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys from the AL East in that lineup, which is insane. And Shohei is pitching and is the DH. And in the NL, Max Scherzer will be on the mound. He is pitching. Fernando Tatis Jr. is leading off. Max Muncy is the DH. Nolan Arenado, Freddie Freeman, Nick Castellanos, Jesse Winker, JT Realmuto, Brian Reynolds, who is, I believe, replacing Ronald Acuna, and Adam Frazier at 9. 2 Pirates. That's a surprise. Never would see that. But yeah, and then the entire AL lineup, if we're just gonna go right to it, Mike Zeno, Jose Altuve, who I believe isn't playing. I believe him and I believe all the Astros aren't playing. I think they all neglected out. But this is just the lineup that it came up with. Mike Zeno, Jose Altuve, Whit Merrifield, Bo Bichette, Carlos Correa, Tim Anderson, Joey Wendell, Matt Olson, Jose Ramirez, Jared Walsh, Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, Adolis Garcia, JD Martinez, and Nelson Cruz. That's the AL lineup. And the NL is Yadier Molina, Omar Narvaez, Ozzie Albies, Chris Bryant, Brandon Crawford, Jake Cronenworth, Eduardo Escobar, Justin Turner, Manny Machado, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, and Chris Taylor. It's a very solid lineup. And for the AL pitchers, we got Shane Bieber, Garrett Cole, Nathan Eovaldi, Kyle Gibson, Yuriski Kubushia, Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon, Chris Bassett, Matt Barnes, Aroldis Chapman, Liam Hendricks, Ryan Presley, and Gregory Soto. It's a very nice pitching unit. And then for the NL, Corbin Burns, Yu Darvish, Jacob deGrom, Kevin Gausman, German Marquez, Trevor Rogers, Zach Wheeler, Brandon Woodruff, Walker Buehler, Freddie Peralta, Ty John Walker, Josh Hader, Craig Kimbrell, Mark Melancon, and Alex Reyes. Now, obviously, some of these guys have been replaced, as in the guys like Jacob deGrom, who said he didn't want to go. He just wanted to stay home with family. Yu Darvish and Kevin Gausman and Brandon Woodruff, I believe, are not going to be there. They were on the roster, but they're not going to be there. In the AL, Shane Bieber and Ryan Presley are the only 2 from the AL. From the NL, from the hitting side, Mookie Betts, Kyle Schwarber, who has an injury, he will not be playing, and Yadier Molina, who I think will be there, but he won't play. From the AL, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Michael Brantley, all the Astros neglected out for whatever reason. I have no idea. And yeah, that's the lineups. The lineups are pretty, obviously the lineups are stacked, but there's just a lot of new players, you know. Like, if we just go from like a hitting side, just starting off with just like the American League, like Shohei Ohtani, like Vladdy Jr., I mean, Tesco Escobar, Cedric Mullins, like these are some very young guys. And if we go to like their entire roster, like Whit Merrifield, Bo Bichette, Tim Anderson, Adolis Garcia, you know, like those are some young guys that we're gonna be seeing in the future. And like just for the NL, Fernando Tatis, I mean, Brian Reynolds, Adam Frazier, Ozzie Albies, you know, Jake Cronenworth, the Crones on, Juan Soto, Trey Turner, you know, these are some young guys we're going to be seeing. So I'm very excited to kind of watch this All-Star game. It's going to be a little bit different, not seeing guys like Ronald Acuna and Mike Trout in it. Mike Trout's been battling with injury. I don't believe, I kind of forgot what it was, but he's been injured for a while. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of weird not seeing him in the All-Star game for a while. Same thing with Bryce Harper too. It's gonna be a little weird. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be very interesting to see guys like Ohtani versus Scherzer face each other. Like, that's something that you're never really good to get to see. And I'm just really excited. So the All-Star game is on Fox, I believe, at 7 o'clock, like Central Standard Time, like it always is. And I would just do since it's just an All-Star game, it's nothing spectacular. I always pick the NL. Favorite teams from the NL, so I always pick the NL. We'll see what happens. But that transitions us into different sport, different topic. We'll be talking about my top five safeties for this upcoming season in the National Football League. Now this is just my list. This is just what I believe. You can, I guess you could just argue however you want, but there's just a lot of great safeties in the league, in my opinion. I focus more on the skill positions more than like the actual like linemen and whatnot. That's just my strong suit. When it comes to football, so we probably won't see a lot of like defensive linemen. Who's the best defensive lineman? But I will definitely get those lists out there, for sure. Just maybe not in the upcoming weeks. But anyway, for number 5, I think we should go right off the bat, just from number 5. We won't even do honorable mentions. Well, no, we won't do honorable mentions now, because it would be kind of easy for you to tell who's out of it, So or who's in it. So for number 5, now this list is really tricky. This just comes from experience over guys who I've watched over the years. Number 5 is Mr. Harrison Smith. He's on this list because he's very consistent every year. He's probably one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league. The man loves to hit. I believe since entering the league, he has the most interceptions from a safety, I believe. And he's a flat-out just great defender. He knows the entire division. He knows the entire NFC North division's plays by heart, it seems like. Because that man, he runs down. He is a freak. He is a great tackler. He's a hard hitter, and he's a great catcher when he needs to be. He's just he's basically a complete package for a safety that you want. And that's something that you want as a safety or in a player. Is a guy like Harrison Smith to clean up bodies. I guess you could say clean up bodies. He's played at Minnesota since 2012. And his tackles are just insane. I mean, last season he had 5 interceptions. Through his career, he's had 28 receptions. He had 5 interceptions last year. He had half a sack. He had 35 assists on tackles and 89 combo tackles. So clearly, that is an amazing stat. Just a complete, I guess he's a complete package. He has 54 solo tackles. 35 assists. He's a hard hitting safety, and that's what I love about him. He goes crazy. Number 4 on my list is Mr. Budda Baker. Now, Budda Baker is a young. He's a young safety. He's a very young safety. I didn't really know about him until I guess until this year, actually. I didn't know about him until maybe no, not this year. Since 2019, I've known about Buda Baker. He already has 2 All Pros, which is in his young career. He's only been in the league for now. It's gonna be his 5th season. He played strong. He's gone from strong safety. In 2019, he was a free safety. In 2020, he was a strong safety. I believe 2020 was the year he got his All Pro, his first team All Pro, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And in 2017, he got first team All Pro when he was a rookie, which is very impressive. Just the man is a complete safety. I mean, the man last season in 2020 had 90 solo tackles, 7 tackles for losses, 3 QB hits, and 118 combo tackles, which is insane. He had 2 interceptions last year. Obviously, the one he should have had a pick 6, but DK Metcalf hawked him. But yeah, Buda Baker is definitely one of the best safeties in the game right now. He definitely needs to be in your top 5. I definitely believe he needs to be in your top 5, for sure. He's at my number 4, and he's gonna stay right there for now. Number 3 has to be the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann's been in the league for, this will be, I believe, his 9th year. It's gonna be his 3rd with Kansas City. Last year, during their make to the Super Bowl, he was also a All Pro too. That season. He's really for me, he's really like an anywhere type position player for Tyrann Mathieu. He's good with his hands, he's good with his feet. He's a really aggressive player. You can really put him in the free safety position or the strong safety position in any way. But he had 2 QB hits, he had 3 tackles for losses, he had 48 solo tackles and 62 combo tackles. Very impressive for him. He had 6 interceptions last year. He had no forced fumbles, but he had 9 pass deflections. Very impressive for him. I just really like the Honey Badger. I mean, I feel like for me, you can swap Tyrann and Buda from 3 to 4, but for me, I'm just going based off of just experience for Tyrann right there, and how consistent he's been in the league. So I got Tyrann Mathieu at 3. That's who I got. You could honestly flip-flop them any way you would like, because I believe you can put him at 4 and then Buda at 3, and then keep him at 3 and then Buda at 4. I definitely believe you can do that, but it's just based off of just opinion-wise, like it always is. So, next we got to go with a personal favorite of mine, number 2, Mr. Micah Fitzpatrick, who is a very good free safety, I should say. Very good. Came from Alabama. I believe. Yes, came from Alabama. And it's a complete package you want for a free safety. In his 2020 season, he made first team All-Pro. He made 79 combo tackles with 60 solo tackles. He only had 1 tackles for loss. Obviously, since he's a free safety, he's gotta get up in the pass deflections. He's got 11. He had 4 interceptions last season. He started every single game for them, really, and I mean, no one throws to his side. He really has to get up in the tackling game in order for him to get into action, because no one throws him, because he's all over the place. He reminds me of 2018 Eddie Jackson. That's what he reminds me of. Eddie Jackson, no one would throw it to him. No one would even attempt to throw it to wherever he was. It would kind of like be like for him, he would have to like bait QBs into throwing it to the side he wants them to throw it on, just so he can get some action. And that's what Mika Fitzpatrick reminds me of. He's got me, or I got him at the number two position. Yeah, and number one is Mr. Justin Simmons. Crazy how we had the same last name too, you know? That's not on purpose. It's just crazy how we have the same last name, and that's who I'm picking. The reason why I'm going with Justin Simmons at number one, he got first team All-Pro that season too, I believe. First team All-Pro in 2020. He started and played all 16 games. I don't believe since the man hasn't missed a snap in a game he has played in since 2017. The man is just on the field forever and ever and ever, and the man is a stud. He had 5 interceptions last year. He had one fumble recovery, and this is for the Broncos. He had 96 combo tackles, 77 solo, and 19 assists, 3 tackles for losses. No one throws to Justin Simmons. The man's on the field the entire time. No one throws it to his side. His resume just speaks for itself. It's very impressive, and he's been doing this on a constant basis. This hasn't been like something that just started last season. Ever since 2017 when he started starting for this team, his numbers have shown, and they have stayed very consistent. Obviously, he got injured during the 2017 season, so he only played 13 instead of 16 games, but his numbers are very consistent and very average with each other. And for just Justin Simmons, for me personally, I just like the way how he scouts the field. I like the way how he has he uses his eyes in a very good way. There would be plays where you think that he's not really paying attention, but then next you know, he crosses and he just zooms to the other side of the field and goes crazy. That's what I really like. See, that's something I really like about free safeties. They can play like 20 yards off, but all they gotta do is play downhill. And once they read it, and if you're that good of a guy like Justin Simmons is, once you read it, you have the opportunity to pick it off. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, he's just at that position when you're playing that wide off, or like film study is very important. Because you gotta be able to recognize things faster than like a cornerback or like a DB, or cornerback. Because coming from the free safety position, it's a little bit different than a strong safety, where the strong safety might play in the box, where he doesn't have to. He just has to worry about kind of getting around a guy or beating a guy based on strength, or watching a guy at the middle, versus a free safety where he has to surround himself with everywhere around the field, and kind of has to play with the QB's mind a little bit. And I think he's really good at doing that. And that's why I put him at number one, because I like watching his game a lot. I've studied his game a lot. And I just think he's a fantastic free safety. Anyway, that is my top 5 for safeties coming up to in the upcoming 2021 season. Obviously, guys like Derwin James are not in there. Derwin James has obviously been injured. Jonathan Abram, I was thinking about it, but I was like, I can't, it was like I can't have him in there over a guy like Harrison Smith. I believe that's just what I believe. I've been watching Harrison Smith for way too long. I just can't I can't have him at that 5 position over him. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna be that's gonna be it. I guess that's gonna be it for the for the episode today. It was a short one, obviously. Didn't really have that much to talk about. I gave you my top 5 for free safeties. I don't know when my next top 5 is gonna be out. It will just depend. It might actually just be tomorrow, actually. I had to do some more research over a very interesting topic: the receivers. The receivers is probably one of the most heated topics that it comes to when it comes to guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and Julio Jones, because you can literally have any of those guys in any order, and regardless, people will hate you or agree with you on your list. Because people think he's better than Devontae's better than Julio, or people think Julio's better than Devontae and D-Hop, and people think D-Hop's better than Devontae and Julio. But people, it's one of the most controversial topics ever to talk about right now in the league, because everybody thinks one guy is better than the other, when it's like, well, you could really just put them all in like a top 3 and see them however you want, and I wouldn't even be mad. It's a very hard topic. So we'll probably talk about that. Talk about maybe a little later, like next week. I'm gonna start getting my my record sheet together for the upcoming season, based on what teams I think are gonna do good, based on who's coming back, who's not coming back, which teams got who now, like teams might do a little bit better. It's a 17-game season now, so that means Lions cannot go 0-17. Yes, sir. Or 18-week season, they can go 0-17 now. So, but anyway, that's gonna be it for the podcast today. I will see you guys tomorrow. We will talk about a lot more fun stuff going on, and have some predictions. Who's gonna win that Cy Young, man? Who's gonna win that batting title? The MVP. Who has a chance? Now after the recent injury of Ronald Acuna, who has a chance now to win that MVP. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Peace.